biggest secret to winning at slot machines is to truly understand how they work. In this video, which is part one of a three-part series on how to be an advantage player, I will give you all the info you truly need to understand how slot machines work and why casinos love when you play them. If you like this kind of content, subscribe to my channel. Obviously, you'll see the other two parts of this video. I also have other videos that are less in depth on how to just be a smarter slot machine player, and a lot of other videos of me just playing slot machines, winning, losing, but most of all, teaching the advantages of some of those machines to you. Hey everybody, welcome to the Slot Doc. Today, we're talking about slot machines. Let's go. There are advantages to certain machines, but the advantages that exist on the machines are not what 99% of people think they are. Since I started this whole slot advantage adventure, everyone has either said, no slot machines can be beat, casino always wins. Is it really true that what you're doing works? Most of the time, I give a pretty quick answer of, yeah, it's possible. But then just get brushed off, or people are like, yeah, right. So then I try to elaborate and pretty much lose most of the people I talk to pretty quickly. There's a lot of math involved in how to figure these things out, and it doesn't work for every game. And so people want to play the games they like, and they don't want to be told they can't beat them, essentially. So there are machines that can be beat, and certain spots in which those machines have an advantage to the player. So in this three-part video series, I'm going to tell you all there is to know about slot machines, bust as many of the myths as I can, and tell you how they can be beaten. First thing is, most people don't even understand how machines work. They don't understand that these are games, that there are rules. All of the machines have rules on the machine. You can go to the pays or help section and read the rules of the game. I don't know anybody that plays any game that doesn't read the rules or doesn't know the rules of the game they're playing, except for slot machine players. So number one, go read the rules. This will give you a huge advantage into what is going on with the game, how you're going to get paid, what gets paid, what doesn't get paid. And when you don't understand how slot machines work, which most people don't, this gives way to all of the myths that we hear about slot machines. Understanding how they really work is the most important thing to understanding how these advantages can actually exist, and then, of course, how you can actually take advantage of them. The number one main secret: slot machines are 100% completely random. And because of this, you can't win or beat a slot machine by running the money, ladder betting, feeling like there's a time right, waiting for someone to get off that has just spent a lot of money and put it in there. Machine doesn't owe you anything, or anybody anything. Any kind of AI betting strategy, $5, $20, $100 methods, none of these will actually beat the slot machines. They may be, and some of them are, good betting strategies and bankroll strategies, which is a huge part of being a good advantage player, but none of them will actually beat a slot machine or the casino. Slots are random, period. End of story. Every spin is independent of the other, and it doesn't matter what happened before. It's random what will happen next. You could hit a jackpot one spin, and on the next spin hit another jackpot. You could be dead for 25 spins and be dead for another 25 spins. It doesn't matter. Every spin is random. The reason this is because every slot machine has inside of it what is called a random number generator. It is a computer chip that is constantly generating random numbers. This is also called an RNG chip. So if you ever hear anybody talking about RNG, that's what this is, random number generator. It is the thing that controls the machine and how it's going to hit. When you hit the button, the random number generator picks a number, and that's what's going to happen. The game is completely independent, the rules of the game, all of that. The random number generator just picks the sequence of how the reels are going to show up and what is going to happen when you hit the button. the symbols and all of those things, that's part of the rules. The random number generator is completely separate of all of that, and it can't be tampered with. There isn't a way for the casino to change the algorithm on the random number generator, or make it so that it will hit more at the end of the month, or pay more on a Tuesday afternoon, or no, you put your card in there, or that $100 bill just went in there instead of a ticket. There's no way it knows any of that. And it can't be tampered with, and it will never be tampered with. The casino makes too much money already on the slot machines to tamper with when it will win and when it will lose. It just doesn't make any sense for them. And another big thing about this random number generator is that it's constantly generating numbers, whether the machine is being played or whether the machine is just sitting idle. So it is nearly, I say nearly, but it is not, absolutely not predictable. You would have to know the algorithm. You'd have to know when the machine was turned on. You'd have to know the starting number that the algorithm started at. There's just so many variables. It is not possible to figure out when the machine is going to hit, even if you knew all of those factors. So all of that to say, random, 100% random. Nothing you can do but be random. So we're talking random, thousands of random numbers generated a second, 24/7, non-stop. So what happens when you hit the spin button? The exact moment you press that button, everything is predetermined. Doesn't matter that there's cats flying around, or a sun explosion, or a volcano going off, or buffalo running across the screen, or mummy wheelbarrowing something. Doesn't matter. Any of that stuff, those are happening because you hit that button at that certain time. The machine knows exactly what's going to happen right when you hit that button. It's predetermined. It doesn't matter if you hit the button again, quick to fast spin, or you let the reels run completely out. When you hit that button, that's it. The next thing that happens on the machine is what was going to happen no matter what you do. That number determines, the number that was generated at the second you hit that button determines how much you're going to win, how much you're going to lose, and what symbols appear that make you win or lose that amount. The reel spinning and all of the other things we just mentioned, it's all just animation. Even on the old 3-reel machines, those reels are physically there, but built into the computer are virtual reels. So you might have 20 symbols per reel on 3 reels. Let's just say that's 60 physical symbols. But on the virtual reels, there might be 20 or 30 or 100 more spaces that can hit besides that symbol being on the pay line. It could be slightly up, slightly down, it can hit a blank, those kinds of things. Even on the virtual reels, of those 10 symbols, there could be 20 of one of the symbols, even though there's only one on the actual physical reel. So the computer is picking from the virtual reels, not the physical reels. So the reason those machines give you a little bit better play of your money is because they're not as volatile. They don't have huge wins and long stretches of not paying. They're going to consistently give you some sort of payback with the chance of hitting, a smaller jackpot, a few $100s versus hundreds of thousands. So again, every spin is independent. It doesn't matter what happened before. The second you push that button, that random number is independent of everything else. Machines don't have memory. They don't owe anything to anyone, and they don't go into take mode or give mode. Sometimes it feels like that for sure, but it's just not actually happening. Every spin is random. Every spin is independent.
All right, before we continue, shout out to all of you who are watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget, it makes a huge difference when you like the video and subscribe to the channel for free. Also, to further support your Advantage adventure with more info, I have a Patreon with all the fun stuff, including added breakdowns and guides for $10 a month. I also have a lifetime membership that gives full access to all of my Patreon content and access to my exclusive webpage with extra strategy info, winning numbers, betting amounts, and bankroll info. Check it out. Link in the comments and descriptions. All right, let's get back to more winning.
So at this point, people always ask, So if every spin is random and every spin is independent, how do the casinos actually win from a slot machine? It's because the game itself is set up for the casino to win. It can be set typically from anywhere from 88% to 97% return to player. And what that means is for every $100 you put in, you're going to get somewhere between 88 and $97 back. So you go, oh, well, if that would happen every time, I would only lose $3. I have a great time, and everything would be hunky dory. Except it's random. So that percentage is over the course of the whole life of the machine, a few years, decades, even, right? And so it doesn't have to do it now, and it doesn't have to do it later. It will happen on average over time. There isn't anything it's gonna owe. The more times you spin the machine, the closer and closer and closer it will give to that, it will get to that exact return to player percentage. And this percentage is set up when the casino or slot machine cafe or manufacturer sends the machine out to where it's being leased from. They order it with a percentage in it, which is why you'll see some casinos at 91.4% on average across their floor. You'll see some casinos like more on the strip, maybe under 90%. If you go off the strip, those will be, slightly higher, maybe 93%. And the reason this is because those buildings in Vegas don't build themselves. And so they need more money on average to pay employees and leases and taxes and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Some of those buildings off the strip don't cost as much. The real estate's not as expensive, those kinds of things. So if you are looking, you can find the averages. Most casinos don't post exactly what their return to player percentage is. I have seen a few that have done it, but most don't post exactly what it is. But you can look online, and there's all sorts of data that has been brought together that will show averages 88%, for example, on the strip, or, you know, uh, 92% in, Wausau County, Wisconsin, whatever. You can find some of those things if you're really interested. But generally, you won't really tell the difference between 92 and 93%. From 88 to 97, you could potentially tell a difference. You'll lose your money faster at 88% than you would at 97%. But when it comes to advantage play, it can make a little bit of a difference. If you're at a casino with a lower RTP, like on the strip in Vegas, the numbers you would play that put you in an advantage over that machine at that moment probably need to be slightly higher at a casino that is 88% versus one that is 97%. Because you're not going to get as much back during the regular base gameplay to offset what you're putting in and what the bonus pays. And that'll become more clear as we go on through these videos. But just know, if you know that you're playing at a casino with a lower RTP, you need to adjust the numbers that you might see in some of my other videos up a little bit, so that you're playing what we would call a little tighter than if you're at a casino that you know has a high RTP, like 96%. And the casinos wouldn't ever set them so low because you'd notice there's a couple reasons. One is that the state has certain minimums. I think in Las Vegas that minimum is 75%, but a manufacturer, number one, would never allow their machine to be set that low, and the casino would never want their machine to be set that low anyway, because people wouldn't play it. You'd sit down next to a machine that's 80%, 88%, 90% with a machine that's 75%, and you could tell you would be losing way faster on this one versus that one. On average, when you play for an hour, you would just notice, and people would stop playing that machine or would stop going to that casino. And when you have built-in guaranteed win, Why would you need to do that? You don't need more. You just need a certain percentage to keep the casino rolling. And so that's where they set their RTPs at, is basically that RTP of that slot machine is guaranteed money for them. It's set so they can pay their rent, pay their employees, pay their tax bill, all of those kinds of things. And so they will always win over the long term. Slot machines are built to generate money for the casinos. As we go through all of this, there's another kind of advanced detail about randomness and how these all work. And that is that slot machines, although are random, there's a thing called pseudo randomness, which is what slot machines truly are. It's an algorithm based randomness starting with a seed number that goes through blah, blah, blah. You don't need to know all the details. If you really want to know all the details, Google it. You could go on and on and on for hours about how all of these things actually work and the difference between true randomness and pseudo randomness. But know that it's pseudo random, not true random, but it plays like it's truly random. There's so many different possibilities that the randomness that exists is just similar to flipping a coin. It's it's completely random, but eventually, after enough coin flips, you're likely going to have 50% heads and 50% tails. In this scenario, after enough button presses, millions and millions and millions of button presses and spins, you're going to have that return to player percentage be what it is. And finally, all of these random number generators and the machines are tested by third parties and by gaming commissions and very highly regulated. So there's no reason for the casinos to try and manipulate them. They're, one, already making money, and they're, two, being so scrutinized. If they get caught, they would lose their license to be a casino. And what would be the point of that? They're already making money. They're already winning. So there's no reason for them to mess with the random number generators or the machines themselves. They're set when they order them, they leave them there, and they never touch them. So, random number generators, pseudo randomness, true randomness, casino always wins. If all of these things are true, then how do advantage players win? How do we take advantage of something that there's no way to know what's going to happen? And the answer to that is more math. On some machines, over thousands of spins of watching and seeing how certain bonuses are hit and certain things progress on the machines, you can know when the machine is in a state when played from here to here, from where it's at now to a bonus of some sort, that it is now in the player's advantage to play at that point. It's not 200% guaranteed or 300% guaranteed, except for maybe some video poker machines, but many times you can get it to 110%, 120% return to player. Again, this is on average over time. So it doesn't mean you're never going to lose. It just means if you play it at these states many, many, many times over and over and over again, that on average, you will come out ahead. And that 10 or 15% doesn't mean you're coming out ahead tens of thousands of dollars. Doing these advantage plays, you're not likely, it's possible because it's random, but you're not likely, and you're not shooting for those grand jackpots all the time. Those are possibilities and those are opportunities when you're playing advantage. But the idea with advantage is to win 50 bucks, win $100 based on whatever bet level you're playing at. You win this, you win that, you hit the bonus that you were shooting for, and you walk away. So advantage players are not predicting spins, not using certain betting patterns. We don't know when a machine is hot or when a machine is cold. We are exploiting specific moments in the machine when the game flips to be in the player's advantage. And the only way that you can know these things is by doing research, watching videos like this, watching other people play these machines, but there are specific machines with specific times that you can take advantage of. There are few times, moments with certain machines where you have an edge. So playing with discipline as an advantage player is hugely important. And that's discipline in not just your bankroll, where if you when you win, you move on, but also discipline in the numbers and machines and games that you're playing. People are like, okay, give me an example. How does this really work? And we'll give you examples of machines, but if you know anything about sports, you can have advantages in sports. Those sometimes an advantage may win you a game, sometimes it won't. But if you had two baseball teams and everything was exactly equal, they played against each other 162 times, just those two teams, exact same players, ability levels, everything. But the one team always got to start with somebody on second base. You bet on the team that always got the player to start on second base every inning of every game because it's an advantage. That team might not win every game, but they would likely win more than 50% of the games. It's just too big an advantage to not win more often than lose. And so that's what we're talking about here with slot machines. There's a point at which you have an advantage, and doing it over and over and over again over time, that advantage is just too much in your favor to lose over the long haul. So now you know how machines work. Come back for part 2 to see what the advantages actually are, what situations we can take advantage of, and how we can get an edge over the casino and that slot machine, even if just for a moment. Finally, if you're not really into this hunting for machines and advantage play situations, you can look on this channel for other videos on just being a better slot machine player, bankroll management, and just generally other information about slot machines. So don't forget to subscribe, check out part 2 and 3, and we'll see you soon. Good luck.
Thanks for watching. Keep that bankroll healthy, and I'll see you soon.